One of us. One of us. One of...
Great showing. You guys suck and you cheated.
Oh, we're recording? I didn't know we were recording.
It is the biggest transfer or free agent signing in the history of the United States in any sport. What is up, everybody? Welcome back for another episode of Ride the Pine, presented by the Benchwarmers Podcast Network. I'm Sean Sproat. Joining me, as always, is Adam Freeman, Kenny Hutton. Cameron May is out today. He is presumably on a beach somewhere down in Florida, living his best life, I guess. But we have a good show for you lined up today. Fellas, we forgot to mention it last week. We're now on YouTube. You can pull up and you can see our faces. So hello to the world. What do you guys have to say about that? Any news on YouTube? Excited to be on YouTube? What are you thinking?
It is terrifying to have my face on YouTube, but I guess it is what it is.
It's weird, right?
It's very weird.
It was a little weird. Kind of cool at the same time.
Well, it's happening. So first episode is up. This one will be up soon. Obviously, still listen on your preferred podcast network, but hopefully we're going to keep churning them out. We're not going to miss 54 days in a row anymore for the next upload. Let's go ahead and dive right into it then, guys. I think first topic for kind of jumping around the horn, Major League Baseball halfway review for the 2023 season.
So thankfully we threw away what our results were, or at least our predictions were for the MLB season, because they were god-awful compared to what it actually is now. But as we hit the halfway point, in the American League East, we have Tampa Bay leading by 4 games over the Orioles and then 9.5 over the Yankees, which I think a lot of us had the Yankees to take that division. The AL Central, which is just a disaster in itself. You have the Twins 1 game up on the Indians, which I don't think that's technically the right name anymore. It's the Guardians. And then you have the Tigers that are 4 games back on that one. The lovely Royals 16.5. They're really bringing up the rear on that one, and pretty much bringing up the rear on MLB. AL West, we all had Houston, right? No, it's Texas. And then the Angles are in 3rd place, so Cameron is pretty close. They're only 5 games out. And then really bringing up the rear of the entire MLB, Oakland, that shouldn't really even be a team right now. 28 games back. And that disaster of a franchise right now. I believe they're still actually moving to Vegas, but I have a feeling it ends up falling through, which will just be an absolute disaster for MLB and Oakland. And then the NL, I think the one division that we actually probably all got right, Atlanta seems to be running away with it right now. They're 6.5 up on the Marlins, and then the Mets, who I think a lot of us had as at least having a chance, are 16 games back.
Right.
The NL Central, the one that we pay attention to, I would say is probably on par with the AL Central as far as being a disaster. The Brewers are 41-38, tied with the Reds at the top of the division. Ellie, what is his name? Ellie De La Cruz or whatever his name is.
Yep.
Yeah, he's getting all the attention for a rookie, but Jordan Walker's hitting pretty much every game he's played in.
I want to interrupt you real quick. I saw an
go
article
ahead.
on Twitter. Some lady wrote that she said De La Cruz should be an all-star. Are you kidding me?
That's a stretch. That's a bit of a stretch. I mean, he did hit
just
for the
don't get it.
cycle already for the first time. That's pretty cool. And, I mean, he is lighting it up, but not for the all-star. That's, no.
But I don't get it. I mean, he's a good player. Jordan Walker was more highly touted coming out, but I think it was the fact that Jordan Walker was here day one.
Right.
That gave all of the, whatever accolades or whatever, attention to him, but it really wasn't that much attention. It's probably just because the Reds are pulling a miracle out of their ass right now and being at the top of the division. The Pirates, they're the ones falling off the wagon right now. They were towards the top of the division. They're now 4.5 back. And then near and dear to our hearts, even with winning tonight, the Redbirds are 8 games back. That's not looking good for our heroes. And then the division I know that we all got right. This is a lock. The Dodgers, they're going to win this division and then have the Padres right behind it. Right, guys? Right?
Of course.
Right?
Of course. Right?
Who had the
What else
Diamondbacks? Anybody have the Diamondbacks?
Diamondbacks didn't even have this at the beginning of the season.
And I just want to point this out. The Diamondbacks have 47 wins. Do you guys want to take a guess at how many other division leaders have more wins?
I mean, I have it up in front of me, so I'll try not to look. I'm gonna go ahead and say 2.
Kenny?
I wasn't paying attention, so I'm gonna say let's see here. The Rays probably have more, and I'm gonna say that's it.
The Rays have more, and so do the Braves. And then the Rangers are tied with 47 wins. But of the 6 division winners, the Diamondbacks of all teams somehow are third overall, which is crazy to me. So, with that being said, what stands out the most to you guys?
I mean, Arizona leading that division is pretty crazy. Hits close to home. St. Louis, 32 wins at this point, 8 games back in the Central. That hurts. That's pretty surprising. I think, though, I'm going to go with the fact that the AL Central is under 500, the entire division. Minnesota's winning that division, 40 wins, 41 losses. I would love to play in that division if I were any other team. Kansas City sitting at the bottom of that. They have 22 wins, which is more than the average fans that they get for every single game. That division is a shit show, and that I thought Minnesota was going to be better than this. I thought Cleveland was going to be better than this. Didn't expect anything from Detroit or Chicago or Kansas City. That's pretty surprising to me, the AL Central.
I mean, I would look at it and say the AL East is kind of surprising because everybody talked about how the Yankees were going to run away with it. And the Rays are up there. It's not like the Rays are just ahead of the Yankees. The Yankees are 8 games back or whatever it is.
They're 8 games back, yeah, but also every single team in that division is 500 or better. Like the Yankees are still 43 and 35, and the media is talking about how terrible they are. They're still 8 games over 500.
Well, that's all fine and dandy because we still got media here in St. Louis. We're talking about how the Cardinals are okay.
Yeah.
I get it. It's one of the biggest stories of the season. Like, how can this team be so bad? There's only I saw a stat last year, so I don't know if it's still relevant. But the Cardinals are one of 3 teams that had 2 rostered players getting paid more than $25 million. Basically, you have 2 superstars. They're one of 3 teams. I guarantee you the other 2 teams, Yankees, they're not below 500. And I'm probably going to say it was the Dodgers. I don't know where exactly the Dodgers sit, but I don't think it's under 500. And I don't think it's 8 games under.
I mean, what about the Orioles, though? I mean, the Orioles were the team at the end of last year that got hot and started to make a run towards, I think they were close to getting into the wild card a few games out. And now they're fighting for basically, at this point, they're the first wild card team. They have 48 wins. So they're ahead of, really, obviously, everybody in the AL East, but then they're ahead of Houston, who has 42. And that's a team that really kind of flew under the radar because of the Orioles. They flew. But they flew, relatively unseen, and that was lame, but I liked it. But now they're progressing forward, and you have Jackson Holliday, who was the number 1 pick last year. He's going to be in the futures game, and they predict there's an opportunity that he could play this year. Like, that's huge to be able to have that kind of talent that is moving through. And it kind of goes back to what the Cubs did a little bit with how they sucked and were able to come back. Theo did it a little bit different in Chicago, but that's a really interesting team to me that they have a chance to make the playoffs, and they're going to be a dangerous team. I mean, the Rays are going to probably end up running away with that. They have a plus 150 run differential right now, which is absolutely insane. I think the Rangers are like 140 or something like that last time I looked. But to be plus 150 halfway through a season is ridiculous. But if you can get a team that makes a little bit of noise going into the wild card, there's an opportunity to do a little bit of damage in the playoffs.
Yeah, the Rangers are plus 147 on run differential, so pretty close to that. But, I mean, kind of what Kenny was saying, Baltimore is the anti-Yankees, essentially. They're doing the exact opposite of what the Yankees are doing. Baltimore's been building to this for years. They suffered through a lot of losing seasons to get to this point. It's not really that surprising to me because that's the formula. That's what the Astros did for. They tanked now that they got all of their superstars through their draft, and then they built them up and got them massive contracts. Baltimore's probably going to do the same in a couple of years. I think the Yankees, the fact that they're behind Baltimore with those two high-paid stars, which I think Kenny is probably Stanton and Judge are their two highest on their payroll.
Yep.
That's a bigger story to me than, that's the flip side of that Baltimore story. So that's a bigger story to me, is that the fact that Yankees and Toronto, and the fact that Toronto's below the New York Yankees, still above 500, but the fact that I picked Toronto to be in the World Series this year, I almost still kind of believe that because they're still 43 and 37, but they're 10.5 games back in that division because Tampa Bay and Baltimore are having the seasons of like their franchises. Yeah, that's a crazy division. Is it a trend that the high-paid teams, the biggest payrolls in baseball, are not doing well? The Mets are down, the Yankees are down, the Cardinals are down. Is that a trend going forward? Is this just going to be kind of a one-off?
I could see it being a trend. I mean, you got to realize that when you spend that kind of money, especially when you spend it kind of in, I don't want to say one spot, because they generally have a couple people that are pretty well paid. But when you spend all that money, you lack organizational depth. And that's really why the Yankees are struggling right now, is they've absolutely been destroyed by injuries. And honestly, you could say the same thing about the Mets as well. But you're still going to be able to have comebacks because all those guys get back and they come back healthy. But I do think there's a little bit of something to it, that you have these teams that if they plan it right, you can succeed. You don't have to have the highest payroll to win.
I think the interesting thing about Baltimore will be watching them, and what they do is that, like, the Royals win the 2015 World Series, and then it's fire sale.
Yeah.
I think the only player left is still Salvin. It'd be really interesting to see what Baltimore does.
But do you think that depends on the market size, though? I mean, I gotta imagine that Baltimore's market size has to be bigger than Kansas City.
No, I would imagine they're probably about the same size. And I'm sure you get more bleed in Baltimore with, like, Yankee fans and Met fans than you would anywhere else. I've watched The Wire. They wear a lot of Yankees hats. Yeah, looking at the owners, I mean, I think the Royals owner was a cheap ass, but some of these owners sometimes they do crazy things.
So that's perfect into the next question I wanted to ask you guys, because I asked this question to somebody else yesterday. No, I don't know what that is. Wire.
Oh,
I got nothing. We can dive into this in another episode of things that Adam has never watched. Anyways, I brought this question up to somebody else, and I heard it again on the radio today, and I was going to kind of ignore it, but I thought it'd be something we could talk about. What do you guys think about keeping it back home? If the Cardinals traded Goldschmidt, would you guys be up for it?
No, I don't think that I would. Like, even after all of that talk.
No.
even after all of that talk about how teams with the overpaying like two superstars are underperforming. I love Goldie, man. I love what he brings to the team. He's not the problem right now for the Cardinals. I would say no, you don't trade.
But he's not the problem, but he could be a fix to the problem. Like, I don't want to get rid of him, but we have a logjam at first base now, and we're only having him for another year. If anybody thinks that the Cardinals are really, really going to try to make an attempt to sign him after next year, it is a long shot. I would be shocked, big time shocked, if that actually happened, because I think he's going to be 37 when that actually comes around. He's at the end of his career. Everybody kind of, he's still going to do his normal thing. He's still going to be able to do it. He's still a great first baseman, but the haul that you could get from a team prospect-wise might be worth it. You may even be able to get pitching. And, like, we only have really one or two pitchers on our starting staff next year. And one of those is Steven Matz. The other one is Miles Michaelis. And then you have Matthew Liberatore. And then you have McGreevy. And then you have Garcefo. Like, if you can get the prospects, I think I trade him. I really do. And that doesn't mean you can't come back into free agency and go get somebody.
I would say this: if you could guarantee me major league pitcher right now, because we've had this argument, is it worth trading for a prospect over somebody who's a good player?
Right.
I I hesitate to say his name, Randy Arozarena, because now Matthew Libator has been almost a 3-year project and a staff that desperately needs help. I would trade Goldschmidt now, mainly for 2 reasons. One that you mentioned, his contract's going to be up. We have a log jam at first base, and Jordan Walker plays right field like a deer that was just born. Like,
I mean, he may still be a deer in the womb the way that he goes to get some balls.
It's like I was out there. I was never a good outfielder. Like,
Kenny comparing himself to Jordan Walker was not something I had on my bingo card for this episode.
No,
but it's fairly accurate though.
I'm saying Jordan Walker's feet work is like mine in the outfield.
The logjam at first base does not bother me with the DH. It does not bother me whatsoever. No. I'm not trading Goldie. I like I said earlier, I don't think he's the problem. I understand the haul that you could get potentially for him. There's plenty of other ways that the Cardinals could make moves to get pitching. I don't think trading an MVP, coming off of an MVP season, who if he gets hot could have another MVP season. No, I'm not trading him.
Yeah, but he's not going to have an MVP season playing on the Cardinals. That's just not going to happen. I mean, there are so many more players that are going to get. I mean, you have Ronald Acuna that is on pace to have 35 home runs and 50 stolen bases for the first time of anybody since 1987. That's insane. Like, he is going to win the NL MVP. It's a very rare thing that you get this opportunity. And like the point that was made on the radio was that the Cardinals weren't going to trade Pujols when Pujols' contract was up. The difference was that the Cardinals were going to try to sign Pujols, and they made a legit try to get him. The Angles just really wanted him, and he wanted to go to the Angles because that's apparently the prophecy that he saw. But I think you have to entertain it. I really do. And you're not going to get MLB pitching because you're not going to be trading him to a team like, let's say, in this situation, like the Reds, that generally has pitching, or even the Marlins that has pitching. You're not going to get MLB pitching back. You're going to be trading him to a team like Houston, who has Jose Abreu, that made that mistake, and now they need a first baseman to really play first base. You're going to get their top prospects, and yes, that's not going to help you now, and probably not next year, but prospects are cash, and you can trade those guys right around to do anything else you wanted to do.
But here's the thing, though. Yes, the Cardinals have not been good. They are 8 games back in the division. If the Cincinnati did not win 12 games in a row, we're talking about the Cardinals who are 4 games back. Like, I know I am not ready to throw it in, and because Cincinnati is a decent team, they're not going to continue to win at the rate that they're winning. I do not believe it. There's no way to completely throw away Goldschmidt and just say, no, let's just forget it. If 16 games back, then I'm willing to have this conversation. At 8 games back, with Cincinnati and Chicago and Pittsburgh in the form that they're in, I'm not ready to say that.
But what has made anybody believe they're going to be anything besides what they are? The problem isn't necessarily hitting; it's pitching. Their run differential is minus 16 right now. They have 354 runs scored, which in theory would be second in their division. And looking at it real quick, it's probably about 4th or 5th in the NL.
Personally, I think you can fix the pitching by keeping Goldschmidt and trading somebody like Dylan Carlson or a Tyler O'Neill.
Dylan Carlson,
and still have the offensive production that you need with Goldie and Arnott on the lineup.
Speaking of Bro Neal, has anybody seen him? Damn, his picture's going to be on a milk carton.
Talk about a guy that he has absolutely lost all value possible because he's not going to go to arbitration. That's not even going to come close to happening because the Cardinals are just going to let him walk. And now he's going to go into free agency, and he's going to get nothing because he has not played. It was inconsistent to begin with, and now he can't even get on the field. Like, he's better off just going joining his dad and being Mr. Canada and getting it on. I mean, at this point, that's all he's got. I mean, it's sad to say he has a ton of talent, and I said it going into this year, he's going to be a big factor, and I really do think that's part of it. If you had his bat in the lineup, we could get over the fact that we have allowed 370 runs. We would have 370 runs. It would make a massive difference. But yeah, it's crazy. Anyways, let's go to the next topic we have on baseball. Everybody's favorite time of the year. The ping, ping, ping of the College World Series is ringing. LSU and Florida in the College World Series final. Game 1 was an absolute masterpiece. A walk-off winner in the 11th inning for LSU. Game 2 was a slaughterfest. It looked like that game was played down actually at the Swamp. I think Florida won 24-3 over LSU. And then LSU returned the favor in Game 3 and won their first national title since 2009. I think the final was 11-3 or something like that. It was crazy. Am I the only one that really enjoys the College World Series this much?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you and Cameron. Cameron loves it too, so he would be defending you if he were here. I watched 2 of the 3 games. I watched this last one. I had the TV on. I didn't watch a single pitch because the entire time I was paying attention to the gold seats, or the seats right behind the dugout, because there was one LSU fan who every single pitch, not every single hit, every single pitch, would stand up and throw his arms up and yell at the ump or whomever. And I just saw these 2 people sitting behind him, just getting so frustrated because they saw the baseball leave the pitcher's hands, and that's it. They didn't see anything else because the guy kept standing up. That was riveting to me. I spent 3 hours watching that game, just watching that one guy.
In the college sports landscape, there are great parties. There is the world's largest outdoor cocktail party when Georgia plays Florida.
Yes.
Jacksonville. There is the Red River rivalry in Dallas. But all of this pales in comparison to the drinking and utter shit show that happens every weekend in LSU. These people are professional drinkers. They're not college football fans. They're drinkers. That's what they do. I was more interested in the Jello shot count at Roscoe.
Which is one of the best ones ever.
Let me grab some numbers for you, gentlemen.
Please.
So, okay, Florida had 4,100 Jello shots. Stanford only had 900 Jello shots.
Oh, come on, Stanford. Those are rookie numbers. You got to pump those numbers up.
Are you not shocked though?
Yeah,
LSU,
yeah, true.
68,888 Jello shots. At $5 a piece, estimated almost $500,000 spent in Jello shots at Roscoe's during the College Baseball World Series. Just incredible.
That is beautiful.
That's an insane amount of Jello shots. It's in a week and a half, right? Or no, it's a week and a day, because it starts on Sunday and then it goes to the next Monday.
You're talking about a group of fans that if they win a big game, they drive to New Orleans. And what do you do in New Orleans? You stay up all night and you drink all night.
Yeah.
Like, just programmed down there differently in the bayou. Just, oh my God.
I will say, I do think one of the
Mantle or run for his money.
It's true. I do think one of the coolest things about the College World Series is the environment. You don't get that in MLB. It's completely different. It's loud. It's a party. It's a bunch of fun, and it's a week long. Like, you don't get that. It's nowhere near the same thing in MLB. To me, it's like I am a way bigger fan of college football than I am the NFL. I'm a way bigger fan of college basketball than I am of the NBA. Like, it's just the atmosphere that you get makes such a big difference.
But we've talked about this and we've touched on this. This is why college sports is so close to like European soccer, because these are your clubs, right? If you went to Stanford, if you went to Florida, those are your clubs. there's pride. The pride is different.
You have an individual rooting interest, something that affected you for 4 years or however long. In Kenny's instance, what, 7 years? So it's different.
Thank you. 4.5.
Where did he go to school?
Yeah, Kenny,
He went to
where did
he went to
you
Mizzou, right?
right?
I'm not going to mention that.
Okay, good. And I do think one cool thing that would be in college sports, and I do think we're kind of trending that direction. And this leads into the next topic as well. I believe that good God, I can't talk tonight. Promotion and relegation should go into college sports. And you should be able to move up, move down through divisions, which leads us into the next topic is soccer. We're going to go into our footy free-for-all, not for you sexy freaks, soccer. The U.S. men's team played against Jamaica. The B team is what I'm calling it. I'm going to the Gold Cup games tomorrow, and I am very disappointed that I don't really get to see anybody. But they struggled, right? I mean, Jamaica took an early lead, 1-0, and then they tied it up in, the 89th minute, something like that?
Yeah, so I would probably call it more of a C team for the United States at this point because of how deep that roster is.
I was being nice.
Yeah. Yeah, they tied Jamaica 1-1. Brandon Vasquez gets a late goal to seal a point. Pretty rough first half. Wasn't very great. There were a couple decent performances. I thought Jesus Ferreira was pretty good. He had a couple chances, or he played a couple balls in that Jordan Morris just missed, just on a sitter, just missed. I thought it was one of the worst games Morris has played in a long time. Not a lot to take away from it. I would say 2026 World Cup, there's probably two guys on this roster that have an opportunity to make the team, and it's Jesus Ferreira and probably Zendejas. Everybody else, their time with the national team is numbered, is close to being up. We walked away with a point in the Gold Cup. It is what it is.
Yeah, and we play some random island on Wednesday.
That's true.
You know what I will say is, if you want to grow the game, first of all, you need to take your men's national team seriously. Not having anybody in the line is kind of insulting. And two, you can't be playing it while the MLS is playing. Like, I sat outside with two different iPads trying to watch two different games simultaneously. It was annoying. Like, because you want to support the men's club, and obviously the World Cup is fastly approaching.
Mm-hmm.
It's just annoying, right? Like, you want to prove that you're, we talk about all the young talent that should be coming into the primes of their career in 26, and to not see any of them. And I get it. Weston McKennie was suspended, and Dest is suspended, so it makes it difficult. But like, run Pulisic out there, right?
Yeah, the Gold Cup. The problem with that is it's the timing that the tournament is played, because you're not all the USA guys who play in Europe. They're not going to be released by their clubs because a lot of them have potential transfer moves in the works or are looking for a transfer move. So if they go out and they play in the Gold Cup and they get hurt, now you're hurting their livelihood and you're hurting the club because they're not able to make money off of them. So they're not going to release a lot of those players. So a lot of it has to do with that. The other part, to your point, is that MLS pretty much ignores international windows for the most part, and because they don't play on the FIFA schedule, because of where our league is, and we have to play in the summer as compared to the winter, supposedly. They don't want to compete with the NFL. Yeah, it sucks, but it's like, what if they call in Pulisic, who is rumored to make a move to AC Milan to get out of that dumpster fire that is Chelsea right now?
You shut your dirty horrid mouth.
And what if he tears an ACL in the first 15 minutes of the game and he's not able to make that move? That hurts U.S. soccer for years, as opposed to playing your C team in a Gold Cup.
You know what also hurts your team? I mean, just the sport not expanding, right? Like, they always talked about, like, there was this infamous tour Messi toured the United States, and like,
Hmm.
oh, we're gonna watch Messi play, and you saw him for like 90 seconds.
Yeah.
Like the men's national team is what moves the needle as far as creating excitement, and there was nothing exciting about that. And again, I maybe it's me. I don't understand the Gold Cup and where its importance is and whatever. Just disappointing.
I mean, I
You should
do
beat
think
you
it's
should beat Jamaica.
yeah, I do
Yes.
think it's nice that we tied Jamaica with a roster that is drastically worse than any roster we should ever put out on the field. Being able to see that team compete, and I do like seeing a couple of the other guys. Like I do like seeing Ferreira get his time and get his minutes. He's not going to get him when he gets Berhalter around, that's for sure. But it it was a little concerning to see us go down so quick and see that happen. But in the end, I think it'll end up being fine. I think we're going to have no issues moving on, and honestly, we'll probably still come out and win the Gold Cup in the end. But is what it is. The other part of footy free for all, we're almost in the transfer window technically. I think we still got like 3 days until we're technically into it.
Right.
But the transfer window this year is absolutely insane. When Declan Rice is going to go for basically $100 million, I got nothing.
That's no $100 million minimum. Because
Minimum, yeah,
there's incentives and bonuses on top of that.
right.
West Ham are straight up just fleecing Arsenal in that deal. I don't I don't understand what Arsenal is thinking. That's like their fifth bid for Declan Rice, who is, in my opinion, just decent at best. This feels like Manchester United going out and getting Harry Maguire for 90 million. It's on par with that. Like, why? I don't get it. But what about all these other moves? Like Jude Bellingham leaving Germany, leaving Borussia Dortmund, going to Madrid for 120 million. You have all these players that are leaving Chelsea and going to Saudi Arabia for absorbent amounts of money. I we mentioned earlier Leo Messi going to Miami. I mean, I've watched and I've witnessed a lot of transfer windows. This one hasn't even started it. It might already be the craziest one I've seen in years.
Yeah, there was something I saw the other day. I think it was yesterday when I was looking through Twitter that they believe that this could be the highest dollar value that's moved in a transfer window history. Partially because you have a lot of money that is being sucked up out of the desert and being spent for Saudi Arabia. But if you took that money out alone, they still think that this would eclipse any record that you could even think of because of the amount of money that's moving, and that's globally.
Which is crazy because just Premier League alone, they spent like $1.3 billion last window, and 765 million of that was Chelsea.
Yeah, and that's because he didn't realize that he actually had to have good players. He was just paying for players. I say that as a Tottenham fan that finished just below or just above Chelsea, but
Also,
it is what it is.
If you're watching us on YouTube for the first time, you might be wondering why we're doing this. It's because Kenny is a Chelsea fan, and I'm trying to put as many digs into this episode as I can. I wrote a note down to make sure I do it.
That's all right. Your team got relegated.
Your team got relegated.
A little bit of a low blow, but that's fine.
But it's just insane to me how much money is coming out. And honestly, originally when I was thinking about when we were putting this onto the rundown, that I was disappointed because to me it's like, how the NFL has all these rules. You can't talk to players until 4 p.m. and then you can't sign them until 5 p.m. or whatever
Right.
the bullshit is. And I'm like, man, this is just like that because it's ruining all the fun that all these guys are going to be moving by day one of the window. And then I'm like, wait a minute, it's not. These are just alleged that the deals are coming through.
Right.
This has nothing to do with the under the table stuff that nobody's even talking about that is going to come through once the window opens.
And
Well, that's a
whenever
good
these
question, though,
finally clear. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
I do have a question. Is Saudi Arabia not playing by the FIFA schedule, or are they not like? Because a couple of those have been signed, sealed, and delivered, right?
I don't think that they technically abide by the FIFA schedule. I think they're not on the exact same schedule that MLS is, but they're playing right now. So, I mean, all of the major top five leagues are pretty much done, and don't kick off for another, month and a half, 2 months, somewhere around there, I want to say. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
that
don't think
was,
they abide either.
I explained to somebody that the reason why soccer fans have scarves is because it's a winter sport. Usually you have coats on, so you wear your
Right.
team's scarf. And
Right.
somebody, I mean, he stared at me like I had two heads. Like,
Okay, do we want to briefly talk about all the players that are going to Saudi Arabia? Because there's a lot of them. I mean, the main two, Kareem Benzema, uh, I guess we could say Ronaldo, who's been there already for a couple months. N'Golo Kante from
Yeah.
Chelsea is going. Those are big names, guys. And yeah, they're at the tail of their career. I don't think Kante technically is, but those are big names, and they're going for absorbent amounts of money. It's kind of unseen, unprecedented.
But they're all short-term deals, though. They're all like 2-year deals, which is crazy. Or at least they have a 2-year opt clause that they can get out after that. So what really
Right.
like it really makes me wonder, and we'll kind of get to this here in news and not news with kind of how the Saudi Arabia is working, how all this money's being spent. But like it's interesting that it's all short-term money. I mean, even if you want to throw in live, I mean, live is kind of a short-term money type thing. Is that we're going to pay you your money over the first 4 years or whatever it is, and just after that, it is what it is. We'll see where we get to. Is that going to be their mentality of, hey, let's just pay and get all the attention we can? Because aren't they trying to build towards a World Cup?
They are. They have a bid in for a future World Cup, and it's looking surprisingly likely that they're going to get it.
2030, I believe.
Yeah, that sounds about
Yeah,
right.
sounds right.
Um, yeah, they're all short-term deals. You know what it reminds me of is years ago China tried to do this. They tried to basically start up their Super League, and it failed miserably, and only a couple players went over. And they tried to go big name short-term deals to try and get as many eyes and as many viewerships as possible, and it just didn't work. This does feel a little different, though. This does feel like they have more power in the market than China did at the time. But I don't know. We'll
Well,
see.
the, the big difference is at least Saudi Arabia, for Saudi Arabia's advantage, is relatively on the same time zone as the Europeans. Like, that's basically New York to California, kind of as far as time
Right.
zones go. But like at the minute Didier Drogba signed in China, it was like
Gone.
gone. I
Yeah.
think he was like the one player too that signed.
And to put that in context, when he left China, he went to the
He was maybe
USL.
the biggest star in the Premier League.
Right, yeah. And so now he's part owner, and he was a part player for a USL Phoenix Rising for years around after that as well. But yeah, let's go ahead and move on because we do have a few other things. News, not news. Adam, you got a couple things you want to talk about?
I do. So this kind of goes back to the Paul Goldschmidt rumors and at least talk of do you move him at the trade deadline? About a week or two ago, big headline came out that the Angels GM said that they will not move Shohei Ohtani unless the Angels completely collapse. Now, he didn't get into what completely collapse meant, but seeing as right now they're sitting mid of the division, gotta imagine that completely collapse is probably not out of the question. Are they completely missing the bus on making this deal?
Kenny?
Yes, yes.
I mean, to me, it's a no brainer. Like, I get it. You have to try to compete, you have to put your best team on the field. But I'm pretty sure if I'm a GM and I say, hey, I have what is probably going to end up being one of the best players in our generation because he can do multiple things. Right now, he's leading in almost every major league hitting statistic, and he's right there in pitching as well. And he did that last year and the year before. You gotta get this guy out of here and you gotta get the payback back because your fan base is gonna be way more pissed off when he leaves and goes to the East Coast and gets a whole lot of money and you're just left there sitting holding nothing.
I think
Here
the biggest
here's
problem. Go ahead.
here's some things to consider with this. The Angles, aka the Angels, are 5 games out. They're 6 games over 500 right now. They are well within the distance. The problem is I don't know if they're going to get a wild card with how stacked the AL East is right now. Uh, yeah, so they could miss out on another playoff run with Trout and Ohtani. The difference between Ohtani and Goldschmidt, yes, they're both making a ton of money. Yes, they're both MVPs. Ohtani, kind of like you mentioned, Adam, is a generational talent. I don't think we've ever seen anyone be able to do what he does at this level. The package you could get back from him, and you should get back from him, would be unprecedented. You have to move him. This is different than the Goldschmidt situation for me. You, if you were 2 games back, and you don't have a guarantee that you're going to win the division with how stacked the AL East is right now, and you could potentially miss the playoffs while finishing second in your own division, 10 games above 500. If you miss the playoffs again with Ohtani and Trout, fire everybody because that's inexcusable. So yeah, move him. Absolutely. Get as much as you can for him.
The only thing I would say is that I do wonder if there's something in the works to be able to get him to re-sign in LA. I think it would have already been done by now, but Artie Moreno put that team up for sale, and then he pulled that team off the market. I gotta think there's something that he knows that is like, okay, I'm gonna be able to keep Shohei because that's the only reason you keep that franchise is that you have him. Because I would believe that Mike Trout is gone this year or next year for sure. It's just crazy. Kenny, what do you think?
I think the economics have to be there, right? Because Otani, is not going to just garner $35 million because he does both. You're talking about who was it? One of the guys tweeted out that he was like, you could project him as being a $60 million player.
Yeah.
Like, that's insane to think about. And kind of mentioned that you had 3 teams that were paying position players over 25 million. Each had 2. You're gonna spend more than that in one person. I mean, you sacrifice the cart for the horse kind of thing, right? Like,
but he's not just one guy though. Like he's technically not because he does the job of 2 guys and he does them at an elite level. He does it at a Cy Young level and he does it at an MVP level on the other side.
I guess my thing is though is how long is he going to be able to withstand doing both of them? Like, if it's just
I think it depends on what he does. I really do. Like, I think load management is a big thing in basketball. He was playing the outfield for the first year or 2. He doesn't play the outfield anymore. He is strictly just a DH and a pitcher. And I think part of that is helping him is that typically what the Angels will do is that, like, if he pitches on Monday, he'll hit Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, take off on Friday, he pitches on Saturday. So sometimes he pitches when he hits. I think it just depends. Or hits when he pitches. I know when they played here, he pitched and hit, which was pretty crazy to see. Thank God I didn't see him, or I guess Trout go yard at the end of that game. But I think the load management helps because he can be a DH. I mean, you really don't have to do a whole lot. The hard thing is going to be is that his personality, his makeup leads him to trying as hard as he possibly can. So if he gets on base, he's not going to slow down. Where you would kind of hope, hey, let's trot around the bases a little bit. But the arm is the only thing that I really worry about is him getting hurt and blowing out, Tommy John or something like that.
So let's just say, go ahead, Kenny. Go ahead.
If they create a contract where it's like, hey, we're going to pay you this much if you pitch as well as hit. And if you do blow out and you have to have a Tommy John, like, hey, we're going to remove this part from the salary. We're going to have a team opt-out, right?
I mean, there's already massive insurance policies on that stuff. So I think that for sure he's going to have one. Like, it almost would be required.
But what I'm strictly saying is, let's say he can't come back. Let's say, unfortunately, this happens and he can't come back. But whatever team signs him, wherever he gets traded to, they sign him for an 8-10 year deal. Right, you got to have some kind of opt-out that's not a baseball opt-out, because I think the baseball opt-outs are stupid. You sign a contract, you agree to be there, be there. Basketball does it too, I think, right?
Basketball. I don't know if they technically do like quote unquote opt-outs, but they do it where the player can basically just decide he doesn't want to honor his contract. I don't know if it's a quote unquote opt out though.
Regardless, like this is again my push of like have a supermax contract basically for the next 2 years. We're going to pay you as much money as we can, and then we're going to be done with it.
By the way, NFL does that. NFL does that same thing too. But really quickly though, because we do have a lot to talk about going forward. But if you had to pick one team right now that he could be moved to, just throw out one team that could potentially be. Because I personally think there's only two teams that would make the move for him at the trade deadline.
Cardinals and the Yankees.
Those are neither of the two teams that I was thinking.
I think Cardinals, and I think that obviously Goldschmidt's going the other way if that happens. The one that always intrigues me is the Giants. That's the one team that I'm always like, they're kind of right there. I mean, they were in on, I guess they were technically in on Arson Judge, not Aaron Judge, but they're the one that always is that dark horse. They have a ton of money in the pockets.
They tried to spend big on Correa, remember, in the offseason. That failed miserably. They're 2 games back right now in the division to Arizona. How long can Arizona keep that up? They make the most sense to me, and I think if he does get traded to San Francisco, I think he would sign a long-term deal. They make a lot of sense to me.
Honestly, I think anywhere that he goes, he's signing a long-term deal. I think that part of the trade, if he does get traded, is that we have to come to terms on a deal now, or we're not going to do the quality of the trade. So let's jump to the last thing in news and notes. So we have sports washing, whatever you want to call it, of Saudi Arabia, but there's a new money investment firm that is starting to take over the world. Right now they're taking over Europe, and that is America's sexiest actor, Ryan Reynolds, and his best friend, Rob McElhenney. Not only are they the sexiest team or sexiest owners in European soccer, at least I'm pretty sure that's what we're going with, but now they are jumping into the racing world, and they now own 24% of a Formula One team, Alpine Racing. Is this like the next? Ryan Reynolds was rumored to be part of the group that wanted to buy the Senators. That would have been huge. Now they move on to this. Like, I know that there's a whole bunch of other people that form this. I believe it's is it Redbird Capital, I think is what they call it, or something like that. I can't remember exactly. But I don't know where they're getting all this money, but this is a big deal to have guys like this that are willing to put their money forward. And I know, Sean, that you have your own thoughts on what they did with Wrexham and how they basically turned into, it kind of is a 3-ring circus, just watching them do what they did and really just throwing their money around and taking advantage of the publicity. But now to get into F1, Formula One is massive. I don't know if you guys really watch it or pay attention to it or not, but it is becoming bigger and bigger and bigger, and across the globe, and not just in racing, like sports in general. Formula One is a massive deal right now. And now you have them spending this. I think it was about $200 million that they invested into this team. Now they're going to be a part of this as well. Like, honestly, I think having guys like this that are investing money into stuff that isn't as widely popular here. I know soccer's popular. I know racing is popular with NASCAR, and you have IndyCar. But Formula One is something that is now becoming big. You have Austin, Miami, and you have Las Vegas that are all hosting Formula One races. It's the first country that is hosting, I believe it's 5 total races in a year when it's all said and done. I think this is a big deal. I really, truly do. Not just for Formula One, but for sports in general. To be able to have a group like this that is investing money into stuff that isn't just the Saudis pulling money out of the desert.
So that's kind of what I was going to say, is that what's the 2 sports that are growing in popularity in the United States? And no, the answer is not pickleball. It's soccer.
Thank God.
And it's soccer, and it's F1. And Ryan Reynolds is not an idiot. He's a smart guy. He's pretty diversified. I think he knows what he's doing here. And yeah, I don't really necessarily agree with some of the things that he's doing at Wrexham. It kind of feels more like a Disney club at sometimes. But this is big. This is a big deal. I watch F1. I'm very new to it. But there's nothing better than sitting Saturday, Sunday morning, waking up, throwing on a race, and just kind of like checking in and out as you go. I like this. I like this for him, and I'm kind of intrigued to see who else kind of jumps onto the bandwagon after him.
I think you're starting to see it already. Just to point out, Ryan Reynolds, while I won't question how dreamy he is not America's uh, property. He is Canadian. Um,
This is true. I forgot he is
but
Canadian.
That's a
there
fair
is a
point.
reason.
Yeah.
That's a good point.
There is a reason why Rob McElhaney went to Ryan Reynolds. He's the face and he's the money.
Right.
Uh, you know, we've paid movie stars a lot of money, and a lot of them just kind of sit on it or invested in things that we don't realize, like who owns this restaurant, who owns that. Well, yeah, I can buy a piece of a sports franchise. I have enough money now. Look at, Patrick Mahomes owns part of Sporting. He owns I think he owned outright the women's team in Kansas City.
Yeah, I think so.
Russell Wilson owns part of, um, shoot, what team is that? Is it the Sounders? I don't know why.
Yeah, I think this is Sounders.
Russell Wilson's, I said, yeah, part of the Sounders.
Yeah. Hell, The Rock bought a whole league. So some of these guys have a lot of money to throw around.
And I do think this becomes really interesting. Like, Jordan just sold the Hornets for $3 billion. For, I forget what the percent equity of the team was, but I think it was like, was it 51? It wasn't his the full stake of the team. Like, I think he was still a split owner, whatever it was. But his stake was worth $3 billion, and he bought it for just over 200. And you have guys like LeBron, whether or not you like what his attitude is off the court, he's made a ton of money in his career because of his entire investments, not just basketball, but off the court as well. That's going to be the next group. I mean, Michael Jordan is already in NASCAR, and now he's got $3 billion. I was watching NASCAR this weekend, and he was out in Nashville, and he owns Bubba Wallace and another team, or another race car. That came out really bad. He does not own Bubba Wallace. He owns the team.
That would be illegal.
That would be illegal. He owns the team that Bubba Wallace drives for, along with Denny Hamlin, who's another NASCAR driver. But now they've made the joke that he's now got $3 billion just sitting in his pocket that he's going to go golf and gamble away a lot of it. But what is he going to spend?
Lost it all at the roulette table. Already.
Yeah, I mean, it's all 50-50, red or black. Let's try to double our money real quick.
Throw it all on red, baby.
Right. But, like, I'm interested to see where he puts his money, because it's not going to be just sitting there ready to go. Michael Jordan's going to find a way to be competitive and find his next investment. What does he get into? And then you have LeBron that's coming down after it. And then you have Messi that is going to end up doing something in MLS. Like,
Yep.
It's just crazy to see all these big names that were in whatever realm they were in now spending their money on stuff that is in a totally different ballpark. Like, it's just crazy to me. I think this is massive news for sports in general. And yes, Ryan Reynolds is definitely dreamy. So let's go to the last segment we have. Unless, Kenny, you got one more thing.
My final point is that we've accused the Saudis of sports washing. Maybe this is a great way to keep them out of the sport.
That is a great point.
Athletes and movie stars trying to buy teams and franchises.
Yeah. All right, so let's move on to the next final segment. Sean, you want to lead us in on this one?
So Kenny's been really amped about this for the past week, I would say. This isn't about me. This is about Kenny. Kenny, you have a game for us to play, I believe, correct?
I do. In honor of AEW's Forbidden Door pay-per-view with New Japan Pro Wrestling, you should watch the Kenny Omega Will Ospreay match. We're gonna play. We're bringing it back. The You Can't Follow Me game.
Let's go.
Are we bringing it back? Because I don't think we ever actually aired that episode, did we?
Nope, that 15 minutes was released.
Okay, good.
We're bringing it back for the first time.
Bringing it back for the first half.
Just like Ludacris.
Yes.
So Kenny, kind of explain what we're gonna do here.
All right, so John Cena once again is notorious for following everybody on Twitter. So I have perused Twitter and found 20 people that John Cena may or may not follow. The rules of this: I will ask you who it is. You will tell me whether he follows them or not. I will reply. Here is the difference. I have to know the account, or at least be following. So it can't be like some random ass account that you're just like, who is this person? Now, you may not know who they are, but you can ask a question. Because I do have one that might be questionable, maybe two. So.
Is it anybody from The Wire?
No.
Okay, I'm good. We're all right. Let's continue.
Okay, so we're basically just, you're going to ask us if John Cena follows blank, and we're going to answer, and Adam and I are competing to see who can win, essentially.
Correct. I don't have a tiebreaker, so please don't tie. I forgot to get.
We'll make it up.
Okay. Okay, let's do this. I'm going to go ahead and keep score as we go here.
All right. Adam, do you want to spin your wheel to see who goes first?
Yep. What happens if it lands on camera?
Oh, this is
Spin again.
This is the debut of the wheel. Love that sound.
It actually landed on me. Perfect. I'll go first.
All right. Adam, would you like to receive or punt?
Let's see. I want to go first. Whatever that is. Am I receiving or am I punting?
I will ask you the question first.
Okay, go.
This is a sports podcast. You don't know the difference between those two.
I don't know what it is. Shut up. It's football.
We talked about him earlier today. Does John Cena follow the machine, Bert Kreischer?
Oh, that's a yes.
John Cena does indeed follow Bert Kreischer.
Yes. Pressure's on. That's why I wanted to go first.
Does John Cena follow, and I'm going to butcher this name, Fabrizio Romano?
Ooh, okay.
That's
okay,
a tough
so
one.
I'm going to go ahead and say no, he does not follow Fab.
You would be incorrect.
Oh.
Oh, so Adam jumped out to an early lead.
Okay.
All right, Adam. Let's see here. Who do I want to pick? Does John Cena follow Tyron Woodley?
I feel like he has to follow Woodley.
He does indeed follow Tyron Woodley.
I am kicking your ass.
I don't feel good about this all of a sudden.
Sean, I'm going to get out to so far of a lead that you're just not going to be able to see me.
John, can John Cena see Darren Pang on Twitter?
Oh.
That's tough. That's a good one.
No, he cannot see Darren Pang on Twitter.
He can.
You gotta be kidding. Okay.
Adam, can John Cena see SEC shorts on Twitter?
No, I don't think so. There's no way.
If you don't know what SEC shorts are, it's a comedy troupe. They release a 4-minute video every week. They're hilarious.
It's not shorts with the SEC logos on them.
Correct.
Which would be a pretty sweet pair of shorts. If anybody's got that idea, I'd probably get in on that. Nice pair of golf shorts or football shorts. I'm going with no. I see no connection that he needs to watch that.
He does not follow SEC.
Yes. I'm good at this.
Would you like a score update really quickly?
No, we don't need one. It's 3-0.
Sean, does John Cena follow Brad Williams?
Brad Williams, like the former
comedian extraordinaire.
Wait, who? Brad Williams? Is that who you said?
Brad Williams, the dwarf comedian.
Wasn't Brad Williams also a quarterback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers back in the day? Anyway,
maybe.
That's Brad Johnson.
Oh, okay, yeah, whatever.
You're close.
Yes, he does follow Brad.
Sean is on the board.
On the board, baby. Here we go. Dramatic comeback.
Adam, does John Cena follow Four Hands Brewing?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Best brewery in St. Louis, Missouri, by the way.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Shout out to Four Hands. Please sponsor us.
I think I'm going to be wrong, but I'm going to go with no.
He does not follow Four Hands.
Oh, yes! It's really hard to try to connect the dots on this.
Has Adam missed one so far?
No, I'm 4-0, right? Yeah, I'm good. Or 4-1, I'm sorry.
All right,
I'm going to set a record in this game.
Does John Cena follow Coheed and Cambria on Twitter?
John Cena strikes me as a rock guy, and a good rock guy. So I'm going to say yes. He does follow Coheed and Cambria.
I'm a big fan of your pandering to the judge. Way to go.
He does not get extra points for that.
So,
But yes,
so,
he does indeed follow Coheed and Cambria.
so should I write down a 4 there or just a 1?
You can put 1, and now it's
All
4
right.
to 2.
Okay.
4 in my heart. All right, Adam, does John Cena follow the account? Ladies and gentlemen, it's the weekend.
Oh, man.
Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
I do, and I love that account. It's the same thing every weekend, but it's fantastic.
Sean, you know what it is, right?
No, I don't, but I'm gonna look it up.
Yep, look it up. It's a good
Oh,
one.
I'm not now. I don't want to ruin the integrity of the game, but
It's Daniel Craig hosting Saturday Night Live.
oh, it's the weekend.
It's the weekend.
Ladies and gentlemen, the weekend.
I'm gonna say that he does.
He does indeed follow It's the Weekend.
Yes. I'm good. Sean, that's 5. In case you didn't know.
Thank you. I am the scorekeeper, Adam. Just letting
Just
you know.
making sure.
It.
Just making sure for our listeners at home.
Yeah.
Sean, does John Cena see Cam Jansen on Twitter?
Oh. Sean's getting a shitty list.
I feel like I really got the short end of the stick here.
You-
No, he does not see Cam Jansen.
You're correct.
All right. Okay.
I bet Cam Jansen follows him though.
Hey, this is a lot closer than you think. All right.
You would think that, but it's not.
We'll see.
Adam,
Hubris comes
does
before the
John
fall.
Cena follow Dirk Hayhurst on Twitter?
Who the hell is that?
If you're not aware who Dirk Hayhurst is, he wrote the Bullpen Gospels. He is the Toronto Blue Jays TV TV guy. Bullpen Gospels, Ball 4. He wrote another one.
I think this is gonna be my first one wrong, but I'm going no. He doesn't follow him.
He doesn't follow Dirk Hayhurst.
Oh, I had a feeling that he did. I really was like, man, I could see a connection. If he wrote a book, maybe they met or something like that. But yeah, continue.
I thought
That's
I
6.
was going to get you on that one. Sean, does John Cena follow Rex Chapman on Twitter?
Yes,
Block or charge?
he does follow
He
Rex.
does indeed follow Rex Chapman.
Right. I don't follow Rex, and I see his stuff pop up all the time. So John Cena has to, right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah. All right. Here comes the fastball. Inside, tighten your hands, Adam.
Cool.
Does John Cena follow Dave Wasserman? Dave Wasserman is the political reporter who every election is famous for tweeting out, "I've seen enough," when somebody has won or lost.
I'm going with he does.
Adam just can't be beat at this game.
Wow, man. Wow.
7. I'm pretty sure that's a new record. That is 7, Sean.
I'm not gonna lie to you, that's impressive. I don't have a lot of shit talking to say right now.
You got to get this to stay in the game, just so you know.
Oh, okay. All right.
Does John Cena follow the talented Mr. Roto, Matthew Barrett?
Yes, he does.
Sean, still alive in the ball game.
Stays
Let's
alive.
go. Here
Way
we
to
go.
do
Right.
it.
John Cena does indeed follow Matthew Barrett. All right, Adam. Does John Cena follow Veterans Community Project on Twitter?
I mean, I'm going to go yes.
Adam, wrong.
Damn, how does he not follow that?
The door has been opened.
No way.
Hey,
Wow.
I knew that one was going to be a shot across the bow for somebody.
I don't like that you're
All
just
right.
picking. It should be ran just down the line.
Okay, next time we'll do that.
Crap.
Sean, can John Cena see Mike Emerson on Twitter? He is the owner of Pappy's Barbecue.
What? No, he's never been to Pappy's.
Sean is correct.
Oh, no way.
Okay.
How has he not
many,
been to Pappy's?
How many questions do we have left, real quick?
Okay,
2.
I have 4 more names.
2
Okay,
rounds.
so really quickly, Adam 7, Myself, 6.
Correct.
I feel like that's off.
Nope, that is correct.
Nope.
No, that is right. Yeah, you're right. Again, I don't do math live on the air.
All right,
You should not do math, period.
It's true.
All right. Game face on. Does John Cena follow Hayes Fawcett? He is the on-3 recruiting guy who sends out all the graphics.
I'm going to go no.
He does indeed follow.
I should have got that one. That makes total sense that he does. Oh, man.
It's John's face.
Sean froze.
Let's do this.
I actually found out that I was not following Hayes Fawcett while I was looking.
Oops, got to get that one.
All right, Sean. Does John Cena follow Coach Doug's on Twitter? If you're not,
I request elaboration.
You don't know who Coach Doug's is?
No.
Hold on.
Oh.
This is a great story. So this all started about 2 or 3 years ago. Big Cat created the fattest coach he could on NCAA. I forget which year it was. Named him Coach Doug's and would play through a season on Twitter and then move him to a different franchise or different college. Some guy was like, I am the spitting image of Doug's. Barstool hires him, and he travels around the country with Frank, going to minor league stadiums and collecting baseball cards.
Okay, that's pretty amazing.
True rags to riches.
And John Cena famously loves a rags to riches story, so I'm gonna say yes, he does follow him.
We've got a tied ball game.
Yeah. Let's go.
That was easy. I could have told you that one. This game's
all right, Adam. Last question.
It comes down to this.
Does John Cena follow Manolo? Don't be nasty.
I'm going
you
no.
Smack the golfing ball.
He'll whack at the golf ball. I'm going no.
He does not.
Yes.
Ooh,
There's no connection. No connection.
Okay. So we're playing for a tie here. All right.
Correct.
Ooh.
John,
okay.
Does John Cena follow Mike Leach?
R.I.P.
R.I.P. indeed. Gone
Yes.
but not forgotten.
He does follow Mike Leach.
He does indeed follow Mike Leach. John completes the amazing.
So mad at myself.
From behind tie.
All right, so tiebreaker is this. Kenny, you got your phone right next to you?
I do.
Pull up how many Twitter followers does John Cena have? We're not doing Price is Right rules. It's just closest to the pin.
Okay.
Tell us when you're ready. Hi, Truman.
Hold on. So I think last time I had mentioned that tiebreaker. So I'm gonna change it up on you a little bit. John Cena has X amount of followers. Write your answers down.
How many people follow him?
Mm-hmm. To the closest, whatever. 100 million, billion, whatever.
That's tough. Okay.
Oh my god, my pen died.
Likely story.
Got it.
Okay.
Adam, you have control of the board. How many followers do you think John Cena has?
1,652,337.
All right, 1.6. Sean, what do you think?
What? No, we're gonna. I have it legitimately wrote down.
Why do you gotta make it difficult? Okay. John Cena follows or has 450,000.
John Cena has 14 million followers on Twitter.
Oh my god, I knew it was a high number, but I didn't know what was really high.
Okay.
Congratulations, Adam.
I feel like crap losing on the tiebreaker. That sucks.
Well, you should have lost by more because I should have got all those right.
Great game. Thank you, Kenny. Well done.
You're welcome.
John Cena, please follow us on Twitter. So,
he's gonna get tagged.
Let's go ahead
I have been trolling our Twitter. I will like that.
Let's wrap it up then, Kenny. Where can everybody find us on the socials?
You can find us at Ride the Pine on Twitter, pod_Ride the Pine on Instagram. We're going to treat you out our new YouTube link, or you can subscribe us at Ride the Pine Podcast. Also, you can at Ride the Pine Pod. Find us on Apple, Spotify, wherever you get the podcast. Some crazy guy on the corner. Whatever.
Whatever works. Yeah.
Cameron's selling copies of this episode down on the beach. Cassette.
Hey, whatever gets it done.
Whatever.
He's hawking VHSs down in Denton or wherever he is.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Cool. Let's go ahead and call it there, guys. Great job. Like we said again, John Cena, please follow us. We really appreciate it. Let us know on Twitter what you guys thought of any of the takes. Should the Angels sell Ohtani, or are they morons? And please like and subscribe us on YouTube now. Cool, guys. Thanks very much, and have a good night.